In this video, we will explore the key concepts of statistics that appear on the SAT Math section. We will review how to find and interpret measures like mean, median, mode, range, and standard deviation. These questions test not just your math skills, but also your ability to reason and interpret information, skills that are vital for success on the SAT. First up, the most important concept of statistics is the mean or the average. To calculate mean, we do sum of all values divided by the number of values. When mean and the number of values are already given from the same formula, we can calculate sum that is equal to mean times the number of values. For example, to find the mean of 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100, first we do the sum, which we get 400, and clearly there are 5 values here. So the mean would be the sum 400 divided by the number of values 5, and that would be 80. Sometimes when the given set of values follow the pattern of arithmetic progression, then we have a shortcut here. So we could simply calculate the mean just by doing the average of the first and the last term. So here in the given example, we see that the common difference is 10. So we can apply the shortcut here. So instead of doing the whole sum, we could simply do 60 plus 100 divided by 2. Again, we will be getting the same answer, 80. Suppose you have two groups, group A and group B. The mean of group A is M1 and the number of values is N1. Similarly, mean of group B is N2 and the corresponding number of values is N2. Then the combined mean is just not the average of the two means. The formula is M1 N1 plus M2 N2 whole divided by N1 plus N2. Here, M1 N1 is the sum of all the values in group A. M2 N2 is sum of all the values in group B. Now we got the whole sum divided by the total number of values with A and B groups combined. And the combined mean would be the average of the two means M1 plus M2 by 2 only if both the groups have equal number of values. Let's do an example you see on the SAT. Suppose group A has 10 students with an average score of 80 and group B has 20 students with an average score of 90. So 80 and 10 are our M1 and N1 values. 90 and 20 are our M2 and N2 values. Now let us apply the combined mean formula. So M1 N1 plus M2 N2 whole divided by N1 plus N2. So the sum of the scores of group A is 800 and sum of the scores of group B is 1800. The net sum is 2600 divided by the total number of values within group A and B combined. So the answer is 86.66. Hence, the combined mean of the two groups is 86.7, or you have to type 86.66 or 86.7 67 in the SAT. And definitely the combined mean would not be 80 plus 90/2 here. That would be wrong because group B has more students. So group B has more weight and hence the combined average 86.7 is close to 90. So remember, to find the mean of two or more sets combined, multiply each mean by the number of items in its group, add them up and divide by the total number of items. So it's that easy. One formula for all SAT combined mean questions. The next concept we have after mean is median, which we also call the middle term. So as it is exactly in the middle of the set, it is going to divide the set into two 50% values. To find the median, we have to set the values in order and then locate the middle number. Here we have two cases. When n is odd, the median is exactly the middle term. So calculate the median. We can apply the formula n plus 1 by 2th term in the order. And if the number of terms is even, then there are two middle values and the median would be n over 2th term plus its next term, which will be n over 2 plus 1th term whole divided by 2. So the average of the two middle values would be the median when the number of terms is even. Next, let us understand about mode. The mode of a data set refers to the value that occurs most frequently. So mode is all about the frequency of a number, how frequently the value occurs. A set of values might not have any mode if all the values occur the same number of times. And the mode of a set need not be unique. That means there could be multiple mode values. For example, if you consider the set 2, 3, 3, 5, 7, 3 is repeated twice. That's the maximum number of times. So mode is 3. And if every number occurs only once, there is no mode. And in the next example, we see 3 is repeated twice and also 5 is repeated twice. So both 3 and 5 are the mode values and we call it bimodal. Finally, we have the two measures of spread, range and standard deviation. The range is the difference between the greatest and the least value in the set. For example, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. The least value is 4. The greatest value is 12. Hence, the range is 12 minus 4, 8. And standard deviation measures how much the values in a set of data vary from its mean. So if all numbers are close to the mean, then the standard deviation would be small. And if they are far apart from the mean, then the standard deviation would be large. So rarely SAT is going to ask you to calculate the standard deviation. And if at all you need to calculate the standard deviation, you can use the STDEVP operator in Desmos. So, for example, we have two data sets, 9, 10, 11 is set A, 2, 10, 18 is set B. For both the sets, the mean is 10, but if you look in set B, it is more spread out. 2 and 18 are far apart from 10 compared to 9 and 11. So set B has a larger standard deviation. So to check standard deviation, all you need to do is check the gap between the values. If the values are closer, standard deviation would be less. And if the values are far apart, the standard deviation would be high. And rarely SAT is going to ask to calculate standard deviation, and you can simply check in decimals. Now we will solve a classic SAT style problem about mean, median, and mode using a goal score table. Here is the frequency table. It shows goal scores and how many players got each score. To find the mean, we need to multiply each score by its frequency and then add everything and divide by the total number of players. So the total number of players we have is 25. Now we have 265s, so that would be 65 times 2. And then we have 466, 4 players who scored 66. So that will be 66 times 4. Similarly, we can add all other values where you multiply the goal score and the frequency. Finally, we can get the sum using Desmos and divide by 25 to get the final answer, which should be approximately 69. Next, to calculate the median, we have to first arrange all the values in order. So here, the values in the table are already in a proper order, so we don't have to rearrange anything. And now the median formula is n plus 1 over 2 the term, because here the number of terms, number of values 25 is odd. So that would be 25 plus 1 by 2, which is the 13th term in the sequence. So if you look here, 2, 4, 4, 2, the total values is 12. So the 13th value must be 69 here among these 4 values. So the median is again the 69. Now for mode, we have to check which value is repeating the maximum number of times. So again, you can look at the right side column, which gives us the frequency, and 5 is the maximum number of times the value is repeated. So the mode would be 73. Our question asks about the sum of all these 3 values. So that would be 211, option C. The same table could also be in a graph format. So where we call the graph a histogram. So to interpret this table, you can see the value 65 is repeated twice. So you write 2 65s, and then the 66 has a frequency of 4. So that means there are 4 values which are 66. So on, you can interpret all the values, and the total values again is 25. So for all these values, again, we can calculate the mean, median, mode like we did in the earlier slide. And again, the answer would be a 211. So the frequency table is again a set of values, and each bar graph tells how many times the value is repeated. So the final recap, remember, mean is average, the sum by number. median is the middle value, mode is about the most frequent value, range is the entire spread of the set, and standard deviation is how far the data values are from their mean value. Now, sometimes SAT questions about adding or subtracting a constant to all the values in the set, and that would affect all median, mean, and mode, but not range and standard deviation. So if you add a constant or subtract a constant from all the values in the data set, range and standard deviation remain the same. And you're multiplying or dividing by a constant, then all the 5 parameters are going to change. So remember all these points and execute them properly in your SAT exam.